Good morning, everyone. You're watching Barnstable this morning. And joining me now on the phone is Director of Senior Services, Madeline Noonan. Madeline, I know you guys had a packed house yesterday. You were thanking volunteers. You do this every year at the Volunteer Appreciation Luncheon. Tell me a little bit about yesterday's luncheon.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. This is a really great event for us every year at the Senior Center because it's an opportunity for the staff to collectively thank all of our volunteers for the service they provide to us day in, day out at the Senior Center. You know, it's pretty clear to us that we could not run such a successful operation here without the help of our volunteers. And to speak to the number of volunteers that we have, we mailed out close to 200 invites to this event yesterday, and we had over 100 people that showed up to participate. So, you know, whether it's a volunteer that helps us weekly at the front desk or volunteers that come in periodically to help us with special events or the newsletter mailing, we consider all of them to be part of our, you know, Senior Center volunteer family. They're very important to us. So, you know, to have them come in and have the opportunity to see all of our volunteers in one place at one time is very special. You know, and we wanted to make them feel special for everything that they do for us because they are such an asset, you know, to the Senior Center. And it was wonderful. We had some special guests. We had our town manager joined us and our assistant town manager, and we also had Councillor Hebert, our Precinct 3 councillor, as well as Lynn Poyant, our Director of Community Services. They were all here to, you know, circulate the room and thank the volunteers for their service. And we had a beautiful lunch, which was courtesy of the Friends of the Barnstable Council on Aging, who do fundraising for the Senior Centre. So that was very special for them to do because we were able to really make it a nice luncheon. And we also had lovely desserts that were donated by Cape Regency. So all in all, it was a wonderful event, capped off by a fabulous entertainment by Liz Saunders and Brad Ackland, who put on quite a show. So it was a fun day.
You know, and thinking about all of the things that all of the volunteers do to help make the Senior Center so successful, if someone's listening and saying, you know, I really want to get involved, that would be a great place for me to give back. Who should they contact, Maddie, if they're interested in volunteering? I have to think that some of these volunteers really develop a community, a sense of community in the Senior Center.
One of the best things about the volunteers that have come to us, I mean, Sarah, the amazing thing about our volunteers is that we have had volunteers that have been here since the doors to this building opened back in 1999. I mean, that is just staggering to me, but it really shows, you know, I guess how volunteerism really works for people, that they have to get something out of it to want to keep coming back. And that sense of purpose is so important as people age, to stay involved in your community and to keep those connections and that level of engagement. And what better way is there for a lot of people who retired to Barnstable, you know, and really felt there was a good quality of life on Cape Cod for them, but maybe they didn't really have established roots and connections. And I can tell you the volunteering here is a great way to make connections and feel really established, because you get to know sort of the lay of the land. You know, you get to meet so many people, and you get to, you know, really give something back. And so what we encourage volunteers to do is call our Assistant Director, Donna Burns. She serves as our volunteer coordinator, and typically she hosts a monthly coffee morning where we invite any prospective volunteers or existing volunteers to come in and, you know, just sit and chat, and we talk about the current opportunities that are available because they do change from time to time. You know, I mean, but we're always looking for new opportunities. If people have a new skill or something that they feel that could benefit people or benefit our programs and services, we're always looking to hear about that. If somebody wants to teach a class, you know, on a volunteer basis, that's always great to us because it means we can offer it free of charge. But Donna's the person to go to, and then we go through a process and an orientation and a placement. But I can tell you that right now we are looking for van drivers. If anybody is interested in driving either our handicapped accessible van or our Nissan Leaf electric vehicle, we'd love to hear from you. And we provide full training as well.
Wonderful.
And you can give us a call at the Senior Center at 508-862-4750.
Yeah, and like I said, the Senior Center is always full of activity, and one of the things that I know you've worked really hard on, and actually so is Donna Burns, the Assistant Director of the Senior Center, is you guys are really looking to reach out to the LGBT community in Barnstable and really invite them into the Senior Center and have some events that are geared toward that population. One thing you have coming up is is it a documentary or a movie?
Yeah, this is a documentary that we're screening next Thursday, May 5th. We're actually hosting 2 screenings because we wanted to make this as available and accessible to people as we could. We're doing a screening at 1 p.m. and another at 5 p.m. because some people might not be able to come in earlier in the day. But we showed this documentary as part of a training that we did for staff last year. Because as we were moving forward with our LGBT programming, we wanted to make sure that the staff were fully aware of the needs, and some of them are very unique needs of the LGBT aging population. I mean, these are people that have lived, you know, in the closet for many, many years, and it's been very difficult, maybe more difficult for them than the younger generation to actually be able to come out comfortably. And so what we wanted to do was kind of set the stage here internally, that the staff really understood why we were doing this. And I have to tell you, watching this documentary was completely eye-opening to all of us, and even some of us who felt like we had a good understanding, but actually to really hear directly from the seniors that are in this movie. And this movie basically followed 6 LGBT elders in the city of Boston over the course of a year. They were going through sort of all different kind of situations, but it showed how they addressed that. And there were some cases where people actually ended up going back in the closet because of fear as they were aging, that they were becoming more vulnerable and that they would be prejudiced against. So, you know, for us it was a real learning experience and very insightful, and we felt that it would be great to roll this out to the community and invite them to come in. We actually had our first LGBT social a couple of weeks ago, and it was a huge success, and I have to give full credit to Donna Burns, our assistant director. She wrote the grant, she got the funding, she, you know, got the information out into the community and connected with the LGBT population, and we had over 40 people that came to our first social event.
Wow, that's a great turnout.
It was fabulous, and we had people that actually traveled from East Bridgewater. So not only did people come from all over Cape Cod, they came over the bridge to come to this, and I think that
which echoes that there is such a need for it, Madeline.
Yes, absolutely, and that's something that we are absolutely committed to. We've been very fortunate to get funding through the Gale Fund, the Gay and Lesbian Equity Fund on the Cape, that's helped us, you know, be able to kind of get these things going, and they're actually paying for the cost of the license to screen the movie. So we would encourage anyone to come in. It's free to come in and watch it. We also have Bob Lynn Scott from the LGBT Aging Project in Boston, who's going to come down and facilitate a discussion after, because it really is one of those things that you watch it and then you just want to have a dialogue, because there are so many things that come out of this hour-long documentary that are really, you know, for people, are just give them a whole new awareness and depth to the LGBT population. I think it's, you know, I'm excited to watch it again because I feel like there's something new that can be gained from a second viewing.
So awesome. And real quick, we're running out of time, but real quick, wanted to mention you actually have some high school students coming over to the Senior Center soon. They're going to actually put on a sampling of some Shakespeare.
Yeah, Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, which we're very excited. This is great that we've had the High School Drama Club has reached out to us, you know, a couple of times recently when they've been doing performances, and it's kind of a nice way for them to get a little extra rehearsal time in. But we're going to have a sneak peek tomorrow from 1:30 to 2:30. It's free. If anybody wants to join us at the Senior Center, you'll get sort of an up-close and personal view of the cast and doing the performance. So I can't encourage people enough to come and support our fabulous High School Drama Club. We couldn't be more proud of these students and the talent and potential that they have, so we want to support them. And then the last thing, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, we actually have Joan Beale Names are coming into the Senior Center to do a talk on funeral arranging. This is a great opportunity to come in and ask any questions you had. It's not a topic people typically like to talk about or think about, but it is important, you know, as we talk about the importance of planning ahead and sort of having, you know, all sort of your ducks in a row and just knowing, you know, sort of what options are out there, I think is always good, and this is, you know, very helpful information for people.
Yeah, and it can be such an overwhelming experience when it's time for that I think it's maybe a good idea just to even get a feel for it before you're in that situation.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Sarah. I know it's sometimes when you're sort of in a crisis or a tragic situation, it's very hard to have a lot of clarity when you're making these decisions. So sort of knowing up front and ahead of time, you know, what your wish is and how you would, you know, what kind of funeral you would want. You know, I think this is a great way to kind of get all of that information, you know, so you can start making those plans.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Madeline. I so enjoy chatting with you every other week, and look forward to chatting with you again in a couple weeks.
Thanks. Take care, Sarah. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Madeline Noonan is a Director of Senior Services, and we're